If you follow my channel, you know that I do food delivery and that I use a bike instead of a car. There are some cities where that's fairly common, but here in Atlanta, it's considered unusual. I get a lot of surprise reactions from both restaurants and customers that I would choose to use a bike in this very car-centric city. Now, there are a lot of practical advantages to using a bike for food delivery work, like lower maintenance, I don't have to pay for gas, I never have to worry about parking, and when the traffic's heavy, which let's be real is pretty much all the time in Atlanta, I have a lot more agility than the drivers stuck in their cars. But the truth of the matter is that I use my bike because I love riding my bike. It's my favorite way to experience the city. If you ride, then you get it. So today, I'm going to get into what I bring with me on a typical shift door dashing in Atlanta. I should say up front, I'm not sponsored by any of the companies who make these products, so any opinions that I share are my own. Let's start with my bag. This is the Warsaw 2.0 55-liter bag made by Chrome Apparel. You might be wondering why I use a bag at all as opposed to a cargo rack. The reason is because cargo solutions that are attached to the frame of a bike tend to transfer a lot of the shocks and vibrations from the road to whatever you're carrying. When the cargo is food, that often means a huge mess, especially when fountain drinks are involved. Wearable solutions, like my bag here, allow my body to absorb a lot of these shocks and tend to keep the food from moving around as much while I'm riding. I love this bag, and I've been using it for food delivery for over 3 years now. It's held up great despite some very heavy use. Of course, this isn't an ad for Chrome, and there are a lot of great bags out there. So let me just take you through a few of the features I think you should look for in a food delivery bag. First, notice that the main compartment is lined with silicone. The fact of the matter is that spills happen, again, especially when fountain drinks are involved, and the silicone lining makes it easy to clean up when that happens. It also protects all the other stuff I'm carrying, which brings me to my second point. I have several different compartments on this bag. I love that I can dedicate the main compartment just for the food, and I still have plenty of space to keep my personal stuff organized. Finally, I love the expandable size of this bag. 55 liters is plenty for most orders, but sometimes I get a massive order, and I like that this bag is designed to secure even larger loads when needed. So what am I carrying in all these compartments? Well, first up is my lock. If you watch the channel, then you've definitely seen it. This is a small Avis brand U-lock that I use to secure my frame to a bike rack or signpost or whatever else might be available. There's a lot to say about bike security in a big city. I'll leave that topic for another video. But my setup with a single U-lock is pretty minimalist. The reason for that is that I'm locking or unlocking my bike as many as 50 times in a single shift, so my priority is to make that process as fast and efficient as possible. So far, I haven't had any bike security incidents while on shift, knock on wood. Next up, I never leave home without some type of absorbent towel. This one's an old ShamWow. If you're considering getting into food delivery with a bike, I highly recommend you bring a towel. Spills will happen, and you will be really glad that you have something to help clean up. I actually like to set up my main compartment with the towel lining the bottom so that if anything spills en route, it'll be absorbed by the towel and hopefully limit the mess. The next thing you'll find in my bag are my bike lights. I think these are self-explanatory. Working dinner shifts means biking after dark, and a good pair of lights are essential for safety. Now, I often work 4 or 5 hours at a time, and I'm biking as much as 30 miles in a shift, so refueling is important. Nothing's worse than bonking mid-shift and heading home early. I like to bring a protein bar or granola bar, and also some electrolytes. The hardest thing is making time in the middle of a shift to sit down and eat them. This is my external battery and charging cords. When you're working an app-based delivery service, it's a big issue for your phone to die mid-shift. Trust me, I've been there. I also use it to recharge my lights and my GoPro batteries. Next is my repair kit. Flat tires are a professional hazard when you're biking on city streets, so you definitely want to have a plan for changing a tube on the go. In my kit, you'll find an Allen wrench set, a pair of tire levers, a CO2 cartridge, and a fresh inner tube. This year alone, I've had to change tubes in the middle of shifts 3 different times. Finally, I always keep a couple extra layers in the bottom of my bag. Being on a bike means being exposed to the weather, and often the coldest, rainiest weather brings the highest peak pay on the apps. It can be a tough call about whether to stay out when the weather turns bad, but I want to make sure I'm prepared to make that decision. Here I have my rain jacket and an extra mid-layer I can throw on to keep warm if the temperature drops. So that's everything in my bag. Now let's take a look at my bike. I ride a Mercier Kilo TT. This is a steel frame track bike. It is fixed gear. I know that's not for everyone, but I love it. Truthfully, you can use a lot of different types of bikes for this work. Just make sure you're on a bike that you're comfortable operating in traffic. I keep a few things mounted on my bike when I'm working. First, obviously, is my water bottle. I also use a detachable fender, which I can throw on in wet conditions. It helps keep me and my bag clean and dry. Finally, I have my phone mount, which I have attached to the stem here. This job involves a lot of interacting with the apps, and I really like having direct access to my phone. So that's everything. I hope you guys found this helpful, or at least interesting. If you're also out here doing food delivery on a bike, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Are there any essential items I'm missing? Finally, if you're curious to learn more about what this job is like, then check out my channel. I have a lot of videos that provide the first-person experience of working food delivery on a bike. If you enjoyed the video, please hit subscribe.